Rasheeda, the ever-successful entrepreneur, believed that everything was going well until she received the bombshell of a lifetime. But did anyone really anticipate that Yung Joc's world would collapse so swiftly? It's Joc's covered affair and the unexpected pregnancy that resulted from it. Can you imagine learning you're having a child whose father isn't even your spouse? Yes, you read correctly. Rasheeda is expecting a child with Yung Joc. Child, a secret that had been kept hidden, but when it was revealed, not just any secret, but a shady, scandalous one, it rocked their world, and they held on tight because it didn't stop their Kirk. Frost, Rasheeda's husband, was unaware of Joc and Rasheeda's affair, but when he learned of it, his entire life fell apart. His first words were Joc. Yes, it became so terrible that. The worst part, though, is that Camila, a close friend of Joc's, had her own game to play while warning Joc that she had plans of her own that would completely upend everything. As Kirk's anger grew, Joc's struggle for survival took center stage. Events swiftly spiraled out of control, with violence, treachery, and unexpected turns at every turn. Who is now in control, and what will this do to the story starts in what seemed to be Rasheeda's broken life, but it's far from done. The real dilemma is whether Kirk will decide to restore his family or end his relationship with Joc permanently. Like the ideal existence, Yung Joc, the prosperous rapper, entrepreneur, and all-around industry participant, believed he had it all. His thriving career and opulent lifestyle gave the impression that everything was perfect, but there was chaos going on behind the scenes. Was creating one that would completely upend his life, and at the heart of this mayhem was Rasheeda, the incredibly successful businesswoman, well known in the entrepreneurship community, a social media tycoon, and a devoted wife to everything appeared to be going well for Kirk Frost until the stunning news broke that Rasheeda was expecting. But the surprise was that Yung Joc, not Kirk, was the father. A startling affair that had been kept under wraps was abruptly revealed in a way that Rasheeda's formerly stable and secure life was abruptly upended by a single phone call, text message, and incorrect whisper. One could have predicted the shock, bewilderment, and destruction. Let's take a time to reflect on what happened before all she worked for fell apart. How did Joc, who was supposed to be Kirk's buddy and business partner, end himself in such a mess? Wasn't just a single error, rather, it was a pattern, a betrayal of trust, and a dramatic twist that nobody anticipated. The Joc, who was well known for his charm and industry acumen, had been keeping this secret for months, believing he could hide his affair with Rasheeda and keep it a secret. He believed he could do this since he had so many other things in his life, but he didn't anticipate Kirk Frost, Rasheeda's husband, being caught completely unprepared. Just think of the hatred Kirk felt when he learned of his initial reaction. We're talking about a rage so blinding that all he could say was Joc. Yes, murder Joc Kirk Frost. He had been married to Rasheeda for years and had created a life and a family with her. Now he had to deal with the ultimate betrayal of his wife, his world, and his family. Everything he had known and battled for, including his family, was falling apart in an instant, and it wasn't just the affair. Joc, his alleged friend, had been concealing this knowledge from him. The treachery was deeply felt not only from, although Rasheeda was from someone who was meant to be in his inner circle. Camila, a close friend of Joc, wasn't just passively watching everything happen. She had her own goals in mind. She was well aware of the stakes, not only for Joc but also for herself. The cunning manipulator saw a chance in the scandal to protect her own reputation and make sure she would win if it were made public. Camila's position in this was anything from straightforward. She wasn't merely attempting to save Joc from Kirk's fury. Rather, she was strategically planning her movements and playing her own game to ensure that she was in charge of the story. What was her real goal? Was she trying to clear Rasheeda's name and protect Joc and his reputation? Or was she trying to divert attention? Her intentions weren't totally obvious. Camila wasn't merely a supporting character. She was the one with the strings. Camila was moving her pieces on the chessboard in the background to ensure that she was the only one standing. But when Kirk's rage bubbled over, She started to change her plans since she realized that everything was about to blow up into something much bigger, larger than anybody could have imagined, but nobody, particularly Joc, could have anticipated the full impact of what was about to happen. Kirk and Joc's meeting was more than just a verbal altercation. It was a physical battle of egos and emotions, and treachery. When Kirk eventually caught up with Joc, it wasn't just a warning or a phone argument. Rather, it was a full-on assault and violent confrontation in which Joc was made to pay for his actions. Not only threatened Joc, but also physically attacked him, letting loose all of his pent-up rage in a vicious encounter that no one could have predicted. Joc, who had seen many highs and lows in his life, suddenly found himself in a predicament where surviving this nightmare he had made for himself was more important than money, fame, or music. The walls were closing in on him from all sides, and Camila was attempting to control everything from the shadows while playing her own game. But let's not forget that Rasheeda, the woman entangled in this romance, was the one whose life was crushed when she learned the truth. All she had worked for and her entire identity were now being called into question. Would she remain faithful to Joc, the man who had pledged to protect her, or would she support her husband Kirk, who had betrayed her but was also her child's father? Therefore, every choice Rasheeda made would be closely watched from this point on. She had to rebuild her life, operate her business, and defend her family. But how can you do that when the foundation has been? The fight between Kirk Frost and Yung Joc didn't finish with a few punches and a dramatic walk-off like some VH1 reunion show. No, this was personal, and it was wrecked by betrayal just when you thought it couldn't get any worse. Wasn't just upset, he was going to war, and Joc wasn't just physically hurt. His whole reputation was being trampled underfoot and presented to the public with a side order to cancel him now. But keep in mind that Camila, the alleged buddy of Joc who claimed to have his back, turned on him more quickly than a politician during an election year. She spotted an opening and said, "Let me handle this scandal like a pro." Camila began making discreet phone calls to blogs, gossip sites, and dubious anonymous tip lines, not to assist Joc, but to sow seeds and spin the tale. But she wasn't doing it in Joc's favor, sweetie. Camila has been working with Rasheeda's PR for months now. She knows that if this gets out and the public turns against Rasheeda, it's over for all of them. She's cleaning house. So what? An anonymous insider told Fake Tea Daily in an effort to safeguard Rasheeda's reputation. Did Camila transform the incident into a soap opera? She went all Olivia Pope with a twist on Mona Scott, leaking a phony report that said Joc used business and emotional instability to manipulate Rasheeda, stressed to entice her foo. This woman actually claimed that he had deceived her into becoming pregnant. Meanwhile, the public was consuming this as if it were Sunday brunch drama, and Twitter was ablaze. Wait, Joc, Kirk, and Rasheeda were about to commit the entire incident involved Camila playing chess while these lads played Uno. Young Joc experienced more drama than his haircuts, and the memes were unrelenting. Some people posted imitation Kirk mugs, while others photoshopped Rasheeda with Joc's visage on her baby's stomach. Images with descriptions like arrested for whooping Joc like a drum set. And when the controversy gained widespread attention, another unnamed source claiming to be Kirk Frost Barber's cousin's Uber driver says that Kirk Frost's anger only grew. In addition to skipping business meetings and going missing for 72 hours, Kirk was also reported to have been spotted driving about Atlanta with a baseball bat in the trunk and saying to himself, "Ain't nobody playing with me no more." Indeed, it was that real. But the public needed answers, not just rumors, so Joc defied every advice and went live on Instagram. He was obviously stressed up and battered, and he was breathing heavily as if he had just ducked Kirk once again before yelling, "You guys don't know what I've been through. Nobody is perfect, but I didn't do this alone." Rasheeda was also present, and she understood what it was, bro. In addition to throwing Rasheeda under the bus and confirming the pregnancy, his poor decision that lit the internet on fire in less than 10 minutes, He also made it appear as though Rasheeda was the one pursuing him when Camila on the stage and left with in an attempt to contain the damage. She quickly posted a phony audio tape on blogs in which a man who sounded like Joc said, "I got her pregnant on purpose, that's how I stay in the family money." Did the internet give a damn about this scandal? It wasn't only on Twitter anymore. It made headlines like "Rasheeda pregnant by Joc Kirk," those berserk urban daily trash Yung Joc attempted to trap Rasheeda Camila, Kirk vs. Joc, and the battle for Rasheeda's womb drama insider. During this time, Rasheeda remained eerily silent, posting nothing, making no appearances, and not even reposting any skincare content. The mystery was further fueled by the fact that the woman, who typically produced a new reel every 36 minutes, was no longer active. According to other backstage sources, she was staying in a private spa retreat in the hills, presumably at Camila's and her crisis team, but nobody realized that Rasheeda was hiding from Kirk as well. Following the altercation with Joc, Kirk became unstable and obsessed with paranoia, and friends close to the couple claimed he had been spying on them. According to one insider, Kirk has been acting like a reality TV detective by interrogating her every move through texts and even putting cameras in their home. He has been retrieving invoices from 2019 and even inquired whether the baby. Perhaps he lost sight of time, and as Camila gained influence, she started holding secret meetings with Rasheeda's business associates to discuss sponsorships and discreetly clean Rasheeda. She even persuaded Rasheeda's team to issue a phony statement claiming that Rasheeda would be stepping down because of current stress and private concerns. This was masterful sabotage with a splash of intentional betrayal, since she was disparaging Joc behind closed doors, back for a while to concentrate on his health, family, and spiritual peace. To put it another way, we're hiding until the fire goes out. But remember that Kirk is still in a downward spiral, and that he allegedly hired a private investigator because he was prepared to the PI's objective is to track Joc to see whether he's paying off anyone and to make sure the kid is his. But Joc had his own defense strategy and had now hired a lawyer. Start subpoenaing people like this, not with any ordinary lawyer, but with Lisa Gray, a formidable attorney who once cleared a member of the Hip Hop and Love cast from a pyramid scheme and a six-figure or fraud case in the same year that the case became famous and legal threats were flying. Rumors began to circulate across the city. Would Joc sue Kirk for assault? Would Rasheeda support Joc? Was karma controlling the entire circus? At this point, nobody could identify the true villain, Kirk, who lost it and went full WWE. The audience was split, and fans began picking sides like it was the Atlanta version of Infinity War. Joc the messy secret daddy Camila, the puppet master behind the scenes, or even Rasheeda for being mute as turmoil broke out in her name. Within hours, hashtags like #TeamKirk, #ProtectRasheeda, #CamilaKnew, #Joc the joke began to gain popularity. And just when it seemed like the story was coming to an end, Camila revealed yet another shocking revelation in an exclusive. Leaked email, yes, we did receive the receipts. Camila claimed to have hours of unreleased audio, text, screenshots, and video footage that could entirely clear Rasheeda's name and ruin Joc's career when she contacted a prominent podcast network. The city was shaking after Camila put the pin on a bomb that threatened to blow out the entire controversy. Those leaked emails weren't a bluff. She had real files and recordings. Forever, she was playing hardball. One file of Joc's studio included images and even CCTV footage of the young man walking back and forth while saying, "I had to do what I had to do, Rasheeda ain't going to say nothing." Yes, the Joc just given his adversaries the golden ticket, and Camila knew it. She set up a live press conference with real seats, lighting, a podium, and everything. Camila will remain silent if she understands what's best for her. Camila stood tall and addressed the tempest she had surreptitiously sparked, but the drama sis truly believed she was on a scandal with the entire world watching. This problem has gotten out of hand, and I'm no longer about protecting anyone. She dropped 3 bombshells to expose the truth, whether they liked it or not. Joc did manipulate Rasheeda. and Camila disclosed texts in which he was guilt-tripping her, saying things like, "You owe me this, Rasheeda, I kept your secrets." Camila stated that Rasheeda had confided in her during a difficult time in her marriage, and Joc used that to get close to Kirk while he was being observed. Rasheeda was emotionally vulnerable. The world went into meltdown mode when Camila confessed to tapping Kirk's office. Yes, she had audio recordings of Kirk yelling, plotting to ambush Joc, and even attempting to quiet one of Joc's ex-partners. This is more complicated than Joc was Kirk, governing the city, so it would be wise for Rasheeda to speak out. Rasheeda finally broke her silence when it looked like things couldn't get any wilder. She shared a 3-minute video on her Facebook page expressing her feelings without the use of makeup, glitter, or filters. She added, "I never thought my personal decisions would turn into a circus. I was betrayed, hurt, and yes, I made mistakes, but I'm not hiding anymore. I'm only defending myself and my future." Rasheeda then announced that she was pregnant without denying it. "Everyone in this mess showed their true colors, now I'm showing mine," Joc, the father, stated without endorsing Kirk's aggression or praising Cam's cunning. And with that, she ended the video, and the internet went awry. But let's be clear, that wasn't the end of the war. It was only the beginning of the last fight, and the Joc's camp was in disarray since Camila, Kirk, and even sponsors he had associated with were threatening him legally. It was like seeing a digital eraser in real time when one brand fired him within 30 minutes of Rasheeda's video, and another removed all of their joint posts with him. However, Joc wasn't finished. He returned with a cease and desist letter directed at. In the letter, Camila accused her of breaking recording laws, publicly disparaging him, and undermining his career. The Joc threatened to sue Camila for $2 million unless he retracted all of his statements, and Camila chuckled, went live once more, and declared, "Let him try. I have more dirt. He's suing me. I'll leak everything. Joc better thank me." The audience responded, "OP," and Kirk was his anger management problems were made public by the video showing him threatening Joc, which went viral. To make matters worse, Rasheeda's video portrayed Kirk as being just as poisonous as Joc, if not more so, than the man who, after being shouted Joc, was now dealing with criticism, financial losses, and the possibility of a restraining order, which his attorney had alluded to. However, Kirk had one last move. He publicly apologized and published a lengthy handwritten note of apology. That read like a Lifetime movie script. "I failed you, Joc, but I can't forgive you. I admit my mistakes, and to the fans, I let anger control me. I'm going to therapy and asking for forgiveness." Uploaded a picture of him sitting in a therapy session with the words, "Healing begins now." However, the public wasn't believing it by this time, and Kirk was now known as the spouse was a ticking time bomb. And just when everyone believed Camila had one of her secrets out, a former aide came out to say that Camila wasn't only shielding Rasheeda, she also wanted Joc to move aside because she had a contract with a competing artist with whom Joc had a falling out, and she had been using brides from bloggers to give them drama. The worst part is that Camila had dated Joc years prior and was still in love with him. Now the tables were turned. Turning once again, the media revealed that Camila Rasheeda was not a rescuer, but rather a bitter former Kirk Joc who was the one who ignited the fire. This isn't hip-hop and love. Rather, it's love and hit jobs. And all of a sudden, Camila's reputation destroyed brands. Rasheeda unfollowed Camila without a word, claiming that silence was louder than any live video. Now we have 3 shattered friendships, 1 wrecked business circle, and a kid on the way. The person she